Here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of NotaryCoach.com and the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community. I'm here with our fabulous co-host, Carol Ray, founder of Notary to Pro. Carol, how are you?
I am terrific.
Yeah, good. Fabulous, terrific. It sounds like it's a really good day. What are you excited about this week?
You know, I'll tell you what I'm really, really excited about. I'm excited because both of my daughters, Barbara's been working with me for years. She creates our website. She does all the stuff. But Lori has come to stay with us now. She's a signing agent, but she's taken over so much of my everyday kind of stuff, the accounting and everything, which leaves me with the one thing that I love doing, and that's the mentoring, which can wear you out. I mean, it's time, you know that, it's time consuming, but I'm able to really give my all as far as the mentoring is concerned now, because between the two girls, they're like, no, Mom, that's not you don't do that anymore. So it's really nice. I like it. So that's what I'm excited about.
That's fantastic. Well, great. I'm so glad that is working out. And it really speaks to what a good support system can do for you in your business. And when you find
absolutely.
people who that will take over the stuff that you don't enjoy doing, or that maybe you're not as talented or gifted in, then you can just focus on being you and doing what you love and doing what you're really good at. So that's amazing. So glad that's working out. Laura,
I want to share.
Yeah,
I want to share something real quick. Just real quick, I want to share something that my daughter also brought into our life. I don't know how I can see. I don't know how this is going to show. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Here's the front. That's the way we always see them. And wherever their head turns, they're always doing it together.
That's pretty adorable.
Aren't they cute?
That is pretty adorable. Love that.
So if they park, don't mind them.
Laura Biewer, are you with us?
I'm with you.
All right. Hey, Laura Biewer, founder of CoachMeLaura.com. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Just
what are you
back from a walk?
Oh, nice. So you're invigorated.
I'm invigorated.
Love it. What are you excited about this week?
I'm excited that our e-meetup went so well last Wednesday, and another one is tomorrow. And if you're interested in hospital work, that's going to be the main topic. And we're going to have a little bit more participation from other callers who also do hospital work. And if that's of interest to you, go to NotaryCoach.com/NotaryLight. Is that correct, Bill?
I got it, and I put it in the chat window too.
It's at 9 o'clock Pacific Coast time tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. What else am I excited about? I also have a friend. I shared this already with Bill. Some of you attended the Notary Symposium over the last 4 years. And if you were in the 2018 one in Northern California, Steve and Dean from Closer Hub back east, I guess it's Steve's cousin, had a manufacturing plant for boxes, and they retooled it, and they're making masks, and they're making these, the clear mask that you see, which got a little headband, and then it's the clear mask that you will be able to have a little bit better protection. And you can wear your cloth mask, underneath that. In any case, they look fabulous. They're pretty affordable. So I've already ordered boxes, but if anybody's interested in that, we can put in the website into the whatever you call that, into the chat, so that people would know about that. And that, what is that? I think it's Everclear. Here it is. That's going to be EssentialClearShield.com. So www.EssentialClearShield.com, and you can take a look at that. And then, Bill, why don't you share with me what you're excited about?
Well, thanks. Thanks for asking. I've got a couple things I'm excited about, as usual this week. first thing, and Laura, I can't remember if I got a chance to talk to you or not about this, but I talked to Carol last night. But one of the great joys I have is giving stuff away. So I want to blend that in to our TNT call. So from now on, at the very end, so we don't interrupt or take away from any of the questions, we're going to do a giveaway or two. So that might be courses, that might be books, it might be other fun stuff that we come up with. So we'll do a creative way of giving that away, but we'll wait till the very end to do that starting today. Today I'm going to give away just 2 copies of my Sign and Thrive book, and I've got one bonus prize that I'm going to give away as well. And I'll share that at the very end. So the other thing I'm really excited about, and if it's so all right with you, I'm going to share my screen really quick. Because this is another project that I've been working on kind of behind the scenes, and I need your help. I need everybody on this call's help. I need everybody's friends to help make this a real success, because you guys have the stories. You guys have the stories that have touched you, they've moved you, they've inspired you, they've inspired others, and I want to share those stories with the world. So I need your help writing the next notary book. Our goal is to have this launched. My goal is Notary Public Day this year again, so we can get that going. But if you can imagine for a minute, if you've ever seen those Chicken Soup for the Soul books, where it's a compilation of different stories, kind of geared or focused towards a common theme, that's what we're going to be doing with this signing agent wisdom, or signing table wisdom, for mobile notaries and loan signing agents. So I want to just share my screen here. Do you see the signing table wisdom for mobile notaries right now? You see that on the screen?
We do.
Great. So what we're basically doing, guys, is we are going to be taking stories from 8 categories, maybe even more, because there might be some that we didn't think about. But we know that you are out there. You are face-to-face with the customers. There's so many times that we share and exchange these hysterical stories, sometimes the sad ones too, sometimes the lessons that we learn. This is going to be a book that's going to bring everything together, kind of the best stories. So what we're going to do is, it's about 100 days. The cutoff for submissions is July 31st. So we got plenty of time here to think about, create, craft a story, even do some of your own editing. But we're going to talk about the stories that made you laugh, the hard lessons you've learned, the people that have made you cry, how you've overcome fear, the animals that you've met along the way, bizarre places that you've had or completed your signing appointments, those first signing jitters. And then, of course, we've got to include these stories, sometimes often bizarre, from the COVID-19 pandemic. So we'll be selecting submissions for this book. There is a place to sign up right here. It's just notarycoach.com/story. I'll just type that into the chat window here for you. But I just wanted you guys to be aware of that and know that I'll be soliciting stories for the next 3 months or 100 days on that. I'm going to get those done. I'm going to type this into the chat window, and then we will get started on this. Thank you all for your help on that. If it's something that you're interested in, to register for all the details, the domain name is listed in the chat window for you. Okay, without further ado, let's jump in and talk about some questions. I know we've got some good ones. So if anybody is on the call with a burning question, this is your time. Just raise your hand. I think this is the best way to do this, guys. Click onto your name, raise your hand, so then I won't miss you, because I can see all the raised hands. Some of the questions are getting missed in the chat window. They get buried in there sometimes. So just raise your hand and we'll get started. Thank you, Mike Howard, for kicking us off. You want to unmute and ask your question?
Good afternoon, everyone. I had a signing last week, and there was the 4506 tax information form. And I know typically that only one spouse will sign it, and that's usually what I've done. But last week, I actually had to go back and get the spouse to also sign. And I was just wondering if anybody else is running into that, and if I should just print off an extra copy so I can have one spouse sign and then both sign, if that makes sense, or what y'all's thoughts were.
Great question, Mike. So just for clarification, are you saying that you had a 4506T that had one person's name printed on it, But then the lender came back to you and said, hey, we wanted that one person to sign it, but I also wanted their spouse.
Yes, that's what happened.
And so the spouse's name was not printed on the 4506T. I just want to get really clear on that.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Great. So kind of bizarre. Carol, what do you think about something like this?
I think it's ridiculous that he had to go back and do it. Generally, if 1A is filled in with a name and 1B has their social security number, if they want the spouse to sign, they will have 2A with the spouse's name, 2B with their social security number. So to not do that and to expect him to go back and get that signed, he shouldn't have had to do that. That's not. How far did you have to drive, Mike?
Fortunately, it wasn't very far, and the signing company was so generous. They actually paid me a little extra because, in their opinion, it was ridiculous that I had to go back out. But
It was ridiculous, so good for them.
But I jumped
Who
out
was
there
it?
and I did it.
Give
The
him a,
signing I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Who's the
The signing-
signing service?
The
Give 'em
signing
a
service
kudo.
was the signing service was doc signers. They were amazing, and I didn't even ask, and I just quickly ran out and did it, and it was no problem at all. It was just a weird experience.
Yeah, so Mike, that is weird on a couple different fronts. The fact that they would send you out for a name that wasn't there when clearly it makes no logical sense. But also that could have just been emailed to the borrower. They could have printed it out, signed it, and sent it back. They don't even need a notary for that form. So that's very unusual. So if you're just listening in on the call, you shouldn't run into those. But this is one of those times where you're going to have bizarre, weird, wonky stories no matter what, either from the lender, from the title company, or even from the borrower sometimes. Great question. Tatiana Green, thanks for being here. You can unmute and ask your question.
When are you going to make an audio version of your book? Because by the time I'm home, I'm tired. I'm trying to keep up with my accounting. I got kids and they're homeschooled. And I don't feel like reading and I'm exhausted. So when are you going to put your book in audio form? Because most of my drives are like an hour long.
Were you the one that was begging for that on YouTube the other day?
Yes, because I've been wanting to ask you for like weeks.
Well, thank you for that. And so I really had thought that this quarantine time period would allow for some extra time, but I don't have the extra time and the studio is closed, so I can't get into it. So it'll probably be, because I'm going to rewrite a couple of different sections, especially for the remote online notarization piece. So I'll probably wait until I do that rewrite. So we're probably looking at the end of this year. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll try to make time to read it. Thank you.
All right, you got it. Thank you. Tanya Tarleton, thank you for being here. Would you like to ask your question?
I do. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay. So I have been a notary for a couple years now. I've just been doing like the normal documents. I do know that a lot of mortgage companies allow you to do it, but I'm wondering if I need to take a class for it, because I have gone to the class through the state of Michigan, but I wasn't sure if I needed to take an additional class to be able to do mortgages and titles and things of that nature.
Great question. Carol, would you like to you want to touch on this one with the recommendations for becoming a loan signing agent?
Put me on the spot. Thank you so much.
That's what
Well, there's three experts here for sure. I'm kind of the foundation person. Once you go through what I have to train you, you become certified, and our certification is accepted all over the country now, which is 11 years of hard work. Then I suggest that you go to two other people for sure. One of them is Bill. He'll take you to places that you never thought of going to with his training. And Laura, by far, is absolutely wonderful at all of the general notary work. Between the three of us, we're creating some terrific notary signing agents and making a real name for us all over the country. And so that's what I suggest that you do. And by the way, I am contributing today a course entrance to everything that we offer. as a giveaway, because we talked about that last night. And I thought about it. I thought, well, why not? I'll just do that. How's that?
Yeah, love it.
Sounds great. Are you going to provide the information for the class? Or where can I find it for the notary class?
Oh, what we offer?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll just tell you, it's 3 courses in one. It's libraries. It's access to a graduate's website for free for as long as I'm around, which includes a list of 125 companies, all 4- and 5-star rated, that hire our graduates, and mentoring that goes on for as long as you need me, plus a few other things. With Bill, he's all over the place. He's got so much information to share with everybody. He's always interviewing people and putting more information out there for you to take advantage of, that will take you really beyond the basic stuff. And then with Laura, I don't know what happened to her, but she has a terrific library of videos and things that you can latch onto, and you can learn how to do trusts and a lot of apostille work and just all kinds of things, working on trustees and just everything. So that's the 3 of us. And to be honest with you, we're very reasonable. I mean, I know of courses out there that are like $400 and $500 and $600. And then people come back and say, I wish I hadn't done that. So that's what I have to say about it.
Yeah, thank you for that,
Okay.
Karen. And so Tanya,
Great, thank you.
just to also button it up as far as requirements go, like if you want to, if there's anybody on the call that wants to blend from general notary work into loan signings, there's no like federal requirement to get some sort of certification, but there are certifications that will help you out here. So the first one that you want to consider is the Nna certification, Tanya. So it's just really a test that gets you the certification. It gets you onto signingagent.com. And it also includes a criminal background check too. So you've got all of those things in place. So signing companies will hire you. And then the additional certification from Notary to Pro and your additional education, whether it's from me or from whoever it might be, all that does is it bolsters that. There are some great title companies now where Carol's hard work over the last, 9 years, has really established credibility. So they look to the Notary to Pro. Then, as you can see on these calls, this is a very dynamic, constantly evolving industry. So things are changing all the time. So getting dialed in like this is going to help serve you on that way. So does that help clarify what your next steps might be, Tanya?
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate the information.
You bet. And guys, if there's anybody who wants kind of a breakdown of what a 30,000-foot view is on this, I have a free report on the website, notarycoach.com. It's totally free, but it just paints out kind of that really high overview of what the steps are going to be if you want to make that transition. Shavonda, would you like to unmute and ask your question? Shavonda going once?
Yes.
There's you. There. How's it
I am here. So last week on the call, Laura mentioned that she started the process to get her e-seal. I'm in California. And she said that you have to write some type of letter. You have to get a certificate of authorization. I'm just wondering how to start that process. So when California when they go to do the online notarizations, I just wanted to know, how does she do that?
Interesting question. Laura, you want to jump on and take this?
Sure. So first of all, in California treats an e-seal the same as a traditional seal. There's no difference. So any requirement you have to get a regular seal is the same thing you fulfill for an e-seal. That means sending a communication via some method of trackability. That could be certified mail, FedEx, UPS, priority mail, that requests specifically a certificate of authorization. And those are the 3 words you have to have on that letter. I want a certificate of authorization. They are free. When they receive that, they have up to 5 working days to get it back out, and it'll come to you through, snail mail. And then when you get it, that's what you'll submit to the seal vendor. Whoever's going to make your seal, they need that original in their hand in order to make it, even if it's an e-seal, same thing.
So we're sending it to the Secretary of State.
To the Secretary of State.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sacramento.
Awesome. Great question. Hey, CB, you're up next. You want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can. Hi.
Well, CB is Contessa Bob, and I just wanted to tell you all thank you for this course and training. It's helped me a lot, but my question is, my husband's been in 16 years, and I know tons of people as an active duty military spouse, but I've taken the courses, I've become a notary. I just did to be an online notary. I went through the NNA and took the certificate, their training, how to perform remote and electronic notarization, but I'm stuck after that. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't know what's my next step. Is it best for me to train up, to sign up with one of you all to take training and so I can move forward? Because I'm just stuck. I don't know how to get out there.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you for being here. So tell me a little bit more about where you're at. So have you not taken any notary appointments at all?
Not in Texas, no.
Okay. So no loan signings, no general notary work, definitely no electronic, right? So you're kind of just starting at step one.
I am.
All right. Well, step two, technically, because you already have your notary public commission, right?
I do, and I have the, I went through the state of Texas and did the online. So I have the certification for that as well.
Okay. So you're ready to hit the ground running. Do you plan on do you want to start with general notary work or do you want to start with loan signings?
I think loan signings would be great, but either one, I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I would love to hear the opinion. I guess I know there's a case for either direction, starting at general notary work or starting at loan signing agent, because being a loan signing agent is just it's like general notary work, just all condensed into one package. You're going to see affidavits and things like that. So I think there's a few different opinions on how to do this. But if you were to just pick one direction to go and go with loan signings, then I would love to, I have some feedback too, but Carol, do you want to give some advice to somebody who's just starting out in loan signings about what they need to do and where they need to start with their, we just talked about the training component, but what's next?
Well, actually, I'm going to add something to that training component because I have a graduate who has become quite prominent in the state of Texas. And I'm going to give you the information if you're interested in talking to her. She will be a wonderful guide. Her name is Phyllis Traylor. She's the owner of, she's got a new website, but she owns My San Antonio Notary. And if you want to call me, I can give you her information. My number is 916, 777-5931. I'll give it to you, but she'd be a great resource for you. But as far as doing the work, I didn't do general notary work. I hopped right into signing business, but that was because of my background as an escrow officer and manager. But that's what I would suggest. Talk to her. She'll really give you some good advice.
Okay, I appreciate that. And it's My San Antonio Notary.
Yeah.
I have a link to her website, and there's Texas is one of those that's really risen to the signing or the training challenge, and they have some really great trainers down there. So if you go to notarycoach.com/Texas, those Texas trainers that I have a relationship with, which includes Phyllis, is on there, so you can get tapped into her website that way. The other thing that I would say is you've got a really good foundation right now. So now it's time to get dialed in, and you're going to have to choose some sort of training, whether it's going to be Notary to Pro or Sign and Thrive, Or if you want the one-on-one coaching that Laura provides, that would be an option for you as well. But that's where you want to start, because loan signings has the highest probability of getting you revenue going right away. And you just want to get dialed in on that system, start generating, follow the system exactly, because you're in the perfect position to do so. You've got all the foundational stuff out of the way. Then start getting that phone ringing and dinging, and then you can integrate general notary work or any other services you want to do down the road.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yes, I think that would be the way I want to go. So getting with Laura and getting trained, whatever I got to do, I'm ready for. I'm home all day, so I'm ready.
Awesome. Love that. Laura, do you have any other additional feedback for CB? And you're muted if you're talking.
Love my mute.
Playing by the
I think
rules.
you and Carol have really covered it.
Okay, wonderful. Just want to make sure
I just posted Phyllis's number in the
fantastic.
chat.
Okay, thank you all so
Excellent.
much.
Thank you. All right, Jeff Clark, you're up. When I unmute and ask your question.
Hi, how's it going?
Great.
So I just have, I'm following up on a few times before. So I've been a notary for a while and loan signing agent, and my background check expired this year and I went to renew and it's still pending. And they said it's because the county shut down. And I just want to know if anybody heard anything about what is happening, or if anybody else is having that issue, because I'm losing work. That's one reason I'm losing some work. And then I'm also losing work because my fidelity approval has expired and I have no idea how to get that renewed, because the last time I renewed that, some signing company called me and said, hey, you're due to renew. I'm like, okay, fine, send me whatever. But that I don't do business with that signing company any longer. So I don't know what to do to go about getting that renewed.
Great question. I bet there's other people running into this. Laura, any feedback on this?
So regarding your background check is what's pending, Jeff?
That's correct.
Okay, but that wouldn't be the county.
Well, that's what they told me when I called background online. They said, or I chatted with them, they said, oh, the county's closed and we're waiting for them to supply some information.
Well, I'm not aware that goes to the county at all, so I guess I'm surprised about that kind of feedback, but let's just pretend it is the county. The counties are open, they're just not open to the public. They're working behind the scenes. Although they may or may not have all their staff, they maybe have skeleton crews, which means it's going to take longer to do whatever it is they normally do. So, and there's nothing we can do to expedite it. It is what it is.
Yeah, I understand. So I've been waiting. It's been almost a month now. So I'm kind of, just waiting.
Yeah.
But I've gotten a lot of people call me, hey, your background check is up, and I tell them the story, and they're like, okay, well, we'll give you the business, because we've done business with you before. Right. Well, I'm not a criminal, I guess they think. So, but I'm just trying to get that pushed through so I don't have to go through that spiel every time I get a call.
I know, but there's nothing else you can do right now. It is what it is.
It sounds like the spiel is going to be what you've got. And that's really just takes us right back to relationships. So you can do that and have these workarounds, and people know and trust that you've got this stuff in place, or you will get it in place. Yeah, interesting problem, Jeff. Sorry it's happening.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
For you. Yep.
Okay.
No problem. Danny Lopez, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Hello, everybody.
Hey,
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Carol, for all you do. I have a question. I just notarized a grant deed, husband and wife. The wife was not present. I'm in California. I'm looking at the grant deed right now. I'm about to send these docs back to the title company. Since the wife was not present, should I strike through her name and initial underneath the line where she would have signed? or do I leave it blank?
Great question. And it's funny, I just answered this via email too with one of my students. Carol, can you address this?
Yes, if you're talking about her signature line, you leave it alone. The only place that you should strike out the name of the party who is not appearing before you, like on a split signing, is in your notarial certificate. So if it lists 2 people and only one is appearing before you, then the process is to line through the person who is not appearing before you and initial it. That's all you have to do. But I will say that if you get documents if you're the second party to witness the signatures and only one is before you, if somebody ahead of you has not put a strike through that name on their end of it, you need to report that to title or someone right away. Let them know, because that could hold up the signing. If it appears that both of those parties appeared before you. So you're doing people a favor if you call and let them know it's not your business to call that notary. It's not your business to correct what you are not supposed to touch, which is the certificate. So just a hint, you could be a hero, as Bill calls us.
Danny, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for asking. Patty Jansen, you're up. Oh, actually, Patty, if you don't mind, I'm going to hold off on 1 second because we only have Laura for a few more minutes and she's got some closing remarks. So I just want to turn the camera over to Laura real quick.
Thanks, Bill. As many of you know, I answer hotline questions for the NNA. And one of the callers yesterday, I was shocked at his situation. He works for a major bank, and the major bank told him, and he's in California, that it was acceptable to forget about thumbprints because the signer wasn't comfortable with giving his thumbprint. And so he didn't do it because his bank told, and it's B of A, by the way. And so the bank told him, no, you don't have to do that. So I set him straight and told him how he could make his client feel more comfortable by sanitizing the thumb before allowing it to go into the printer. And I'm sorry that he got that information and that client's long gone. But I want everybody to know there is no order, there is no special exception. If you're in California and you are required to get a thumbprint for all real estate documents and all powers of attorney, you must do it. And if they don't want to give it to you, then you cannot notarize because this isn't a best practice. Now, I'll tell you what I've done is I'm not getting thumbprints when I don't have to get them. That way I don't have to pull out the thumb printer as often, and I'm not asking people to do something they might not be comfortable with. But in terms of any real estate or powers of attorney, I must get it every time. And there's nothing letting us off the hook. And there are plenty of ways for us to do it in a safe manner. So please don't listen to anybody who says we don't have to do it. It's optional.
Great. Good message. And that really highlights, even outside of COVID-19, guys, there is, in our industry, in our little world, there are lots of people who do things the way they've done them for 30 years. That does not necessarily make them the correct way to do them or even the legal way to do them. So we still have to own responsibility for the role that we play. That's why reading our state statutes and knowing our state statutes is part of integrity. We have to know what we can do and what we can't do. And we can't rely on the people who are paying us to tell us what we can and we cannot do. They just want to get the deal done. We've got to fulfill our role of integrity and make sure that we do things the correct way, even if they don't understand what that is. Great. Laura, do we have you for a couple more minutes?
Yep, I'll be here till 5 more minutes.
All right,
so
great.
If
Patty,
ask me a question, that's how much time you got.
Patty Jansen, thank you so much for your patience. Would you like to unmute?
Yeah, hi everybody, and thank you for all you guys do. Can you tell me how you explain on a statutory warranty deed where it says for $10 or other valuable consideration? Is that just so that they're not disclosing the sales price in the public record? Or why is it always written like that? I'm in Oregon.
Yeah, no problem. I'd love to. This is good legalese. Laura, do you have a blanket?
Sorry, I
overview?
didn't quite understand her question.
So on the, you know how it is on these grant deeds and standard warranty deeds,
Right.
things like that, they have for consideration of $10. Why do they say $10 every time?
I have no idea. I'm not the county. I don't create the documents. I'm the notary. So I don't have to know that. But maybe Carol knows. Can I pass it to you?
Absolutely. Volley over to Carol.
Well, it's been like that for years and years and years, and I always wondered what the heck was going on. It's only because they have to have some kind of a value. There is a transfer tax involved on a sale. Sometimes when they're selling to granting over property to like parents to their children. Well, they're not charging them anything for it. They're giving them the land, but the state has to get their little fingers in, even for the 25 cents that they're going to charge for transfer tax. And so they always have to name something. And for as many years as I know, which is like 30 or 40, it's been $10.
The way that it was explained to me from an attorney is that in most states, there has to be some sort of consideration for an arm's length transaction. So you have to put up something. You can't just do it willy nilly. So that's what it defaults to, the $10. It has no impact on the transaction. It doesn't.
I just think it's
shorted or anything like that.
I just think it's funny. It's been $10 when $10 used to buy our groceries for a whole week.
Yeah, it used to buy real estate for $10.
It never changed. So.
Yeah.
I tried to look it up, and there was some language about there are 12 non-disclosure states that don't say what a sales price was. And the person I was signing, the transaction amount was like $700,000. So to see on the warranty deed for $10 or other valuable consideration, I said, well, the other valuable consideration is probably the rest of that amount.
$690,980, $90, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious how you guys explain it. Thank you.
You know, so I'll just expand on that a little bit. Very rarely do I ever have to explain that. The brief description is that this is the document that's transferring title ownership. That usually does it right there. Very few times does it spark questions, maybe a joke every now and then. Laura, you have something on that?
Yeah, just to add to what Bill said, is that here's a great place for you to learn. It was so nice that Carol could share with us about that. So now you're a little more knowledgeable. It doesn't mean we have to tell them. That is not our job. And if you move from presenting documents to explaining documents, you're moving into the unauthorized practice of law. Please be careful. All right. We want you to be educated. We want you to be knowledgeable. So when you talk to signing companies and title companies, you can speak the lingo and you know what's going on. But please be careful, because it's harder. The more you know, the harder it becomes to shut up. Yeah. And not answer questions. And so that's all I want to share with you is please be careful about that. And I got to go, but have a great week, and I'll see you all next week. Maybe some of you tomorrow at the 9:00 meetup.
Notary Light. You got it. Email reminders coming out. Thanks, Laura.
You know, what Laura had to say was really a problem for me when I first started doing the signings. And I have paralegals and people who are, you know, more knowledgeable, but I made some mistakes the first few times that I was doing signings, because I was doing them as an escrow officer and as a manager. And I realized, oh my gosh, you know, I can't do that. Yeah. So yeah, you have to be careful. If your experiences in a prior life leads you to have a lot more, you know, information, you gotta hone it down, keep it to yourself.
It's the biggest challenge I found with my students who come from a background where you're used to being paid for your advice, like real estate agents, loan officers, anything where they're paying you, tell me what to do, some sort of the consultant. You come into this role and it's totally different. We can't describe, we can't advise, we can describe, we just can't legally advise on anything or lead people a certain direction.
And that's part of my training when I know that somebody's come from that background.
Yeah.
You know, to warn them, got to be careful.
It's tough. It's tough. All right, Samantha, you've got your hand up. Thank you so much for your patience. You can unmute and ask your question. Samantha, there she is.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for this platform. This is my first time asking a question, so I'm nervous, and I don't know why, but I am.
It's all right. We're among
Um,
friends here. What do you got?
so I'm in Georgia, and I understand that this is an attorney state, so notaries in these parts are kind of limited on some of the things that they can do. Definitely prohibited from the loan signing agent title, role, responsibilities. But my question is, I get a lot of calls from signing companies that they quote unquote just want us to go or want me to go and sign the deed, or they want me to do an application, an initial app. But in our handbook, it says that, and if maybe I'm interpreting it wrong, but in our handbook, it says we can't do anything that deals with the conveyance of property, like nothing. And so I'm always a little thrown off because isn't the initial application a part of that process? Isn't signing a deed a part of that process? I just want to make sure that that I'm following procedures according to my handbook, not missing out on any opportunity.
Great question. I love that you asked this, and we get asked this quite a bit. So, and I know Carol has some information on this. This is with Georgia specifically. So we'll both chime in here. Carol, would you like to go first?
Yeah, we have a lot of graduates in Georgia. I was very hesitant at first for any of the attorney states as to how to handle it. But the Georgia graduates are doing very, very well. Basically, your law, as I know it, and I've asked people who are in the know, only deals with Georgia property. You're right. You should not be handling any of that kind of stuff. You're not allowed to. But what you can handle is property outside of Georgia. So I've said this before, it is not the title company. It is not the lender. It is not, it's only where the borrowers are. It has nothing to do with where the title company is, the lender is, real estate, it doesn't matter. It's where the signers are. If they're in your neighborhood and that property is in California or New York, it doesn't matter. You can handle that. You just can't handle the in-state property. So if they're asking you to do, are you talking about deeds for property within the state of Georgia? And are you doing it under the guise of an attorney?
No, ma'am.
So you shouldn't be doing those.
Well, again, they're coming straight from
They're
the
coming
signing
from you.
companies, and I make that, I let them know that, I'm in Georgia, that's not something I can handle, and there are Georgia properties. But even after talking to the state notary manager, I'm not allowed to do the ones out of state either.
No, I've not had one student ever had a problem. And I've been told by a couple of attorneys that you're fine.
Yeah. So, and I'll chime in here too, because I've heard slightly different, but here's basically in Georgia specifically, because I've really kind of dove in deeper here than in a lot of places, but the way that the law is written, an attorney must be present or involved in the closing of a real estate transaction. That level of presence and that level of involvement is up to interpretation. So you'll find that some attorneys interpret that as, I have to do all the signings. In fact, you have people who are graduating law school just to do loan signings. So if you try to contact them and ask them what the law says, they're going to tell you that it's illegal for you to do loan signings because you're competition to them. However, there are many attorneys in Georgia that interpret their role as being the closing agent for the transaction, making sure the documents are correct, just like an escrow officer does on the West Coast. They make sure everybody who's supposed to get paid gets paid, it gets recorded properly, and they can subcontract somebody like us to gather signatures. What you'll find in most attorney states is that you won't get a whole lot of purchase business, but the refinance side, because there's properties not changing ownership, it's not being reconveyed to anybody, it's just getting a new loan on it, that you can still take those loan signings. Now, I have to say, I'm not an attorney, I can't give you advice on that, but that is how many, I mean, you can look it up on signingagent.com. There are plenty of loan signing agents making it happen in Georgia. Does that help add a little bit of clarity on that, Samantha?
Yes, it does. It also helps me to know how to market myself when I'm out there, and even on my online presence, so that people can see right off, what I am able to do as opposed to just what I'm not able to do.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. That's a great way of looking at it. And the other huge part, guys, in any attorney state, we can't close a real estate transaction. That's real important. We're not transferring money. We're not doing all the closing stuff. We're not recording documents. If you boil it down, we're gathering signatures. So whether it's an escrow officer or whether it's a closing agent, they can both have the power and the ability to hire people like you and I, independent contractors, to do that part on their behalf. All right, Anna, you're sharing your screen, but I'm going to stop that. I don't know what we're going to see. Thank you, Samantha, for that. Really appreciate it. Glad you're here. Glad you asked your first question. All right, Gina, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, Gina. Yeah, a little bit. You're kind of shaky, though.
Always.
Gina, I'm sorry. We're losing you. Your bandwidth is too
I guess
Gina, type it out.
Gina, I'm so sorry. I have to mute you because we can't hear you at all. I'm so sorry.
Tell her to type it in the chat.
Okay.
You can type it into the chat. You can also call in on the audio so we might be able to hear you more. Okay, I'm going to hit mute. We're going to leave you on mute for now.
And Bill, I had a couple of things I wanted to bring
I'll
up
try
today when she finished and when people are done with the questions.
You got it. Carrie Rivera, thank you for being here. I see your hand up. Would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Okay. Yeah. Hi guys. So with the COVID-19 and all this the pandemic going on in the certain states that weren't allowed to do online notarizations are now doing them. Illinois, which is my state, is now doing these. Well, I've been kind of just, I think, purposely ignorant to the whole RON situation because it wasn't allowed in my state. But now that it is, it's just fascinating and frustrating at the same time trying to find information about all that is entailed. So bottom line is I went through NNA, purchased my basic certificate and my e-seal, and have gone through this whole list of companies, Pavaso, Doc Verify, and some others, and realize, it's very expensive. I don't know. I don't know if there's a benefit to this. My question is for those that are listening, or maybe you guys would know, the coaches, is there a cheaper alternative? Now, just hold on for that thought for a minute. I have checked with a few, like Doc Verify. They're not onboarding any new Illinois notaries to do online notarization. And there was, Pavaso's not doing it either. And I think there was one other one that was doing it, and their company, I can't remember right now. So is there, I think, have you guys had, and maybe I missed it, like a webinar on the online notarizations as far as, what are the cheaper alternatives? And are you going to have one again in the future because of all of this new stuff going on now? Right now, I've promoting the online notarization. I have my e-seal, but I'm going to do it through Zoom since it needs to be recorded and we need to keep it recorded for 3 years here in Illinois. Maybe if you guys can just shed some more light on additional companies that are cheaper than $250. I mean, it's ridiculous how much it costs. And then how much are the notaries getting paid, and is it worth it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that
Okay.
make
Great.
sense?
Bill.
Okay.
Great questions, and it really highlights, Carrie, how confusing this really is across the board. And when it comes to the emergency orders specifically, I can tell you that it might not make sense in some cases because it's an emergency, guys. It's a Band-Aid trying to be of service. And I don't think, not all states are really taking into consideration. It's pretty clear that the notary feedback was not included in their decisions because they've kind of handcuffed us in some states, where our notary fees to use the platform are exactly the same or even more than what we can charge as a notary. So it may not work. The loan signings should work because we can get paid for things outside of the actual notarization, but it's still going to be pretty expensive. I'm not sure how they're going to work it.
Bill?
Go
ahead, sorry.
Hey, Sid. Go ahead. Sorry, I lost my train.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. I was just going to I've been, as you know, researching it pretty hard here in Texas.
Yeah.
And some of the others. I can just give everybody an update. I have signed on with Notarize. It is a very cumbersome to get with. They're paying $5 per signature or per deal. It's good for practice. You're not going to make a living at it. You can get probably $25 or so an hour doing it. But what it does get you to look at is learning somebody else's nickel, which is what I'm doing now. I've looked at all the other ones, as they said, they're pretty expensive. I've got a couple of different opportunities here in Texas that I am working with some folks on that we should know something for independence sometime within the next month. And it's going to be on a flat per fee signature basis. So as soon as we get that all worked out, I'll be glad to anybody that's in Texas allow them to come on and use a deal, because right now Doc Verify, it's $10 to $12 in Texas for a signature
per notary stamp. Yeah.
So that's pretty much where all that sits. I did get one as well from Notary Cam wanting us to do loan signings at $50 a pop, and I let them know what my thoughts were on that one.
I'm sure you did, Sid. I'm sure you did.
I'm not shy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it is blowing up right now. Just to let you know, Notarize on the personal side, I've seen people wait as long as 2 hours to get a signature. So the ramp up is here. It's just the volume. Who knows what it's going to be 30 days from now? But yeah, my 2 cents.
Great. Thank you for that, Sid. I appreciate it. So, Carrie, to really address your question, yeah, we've got some material that will be coming out to try to add some clarity. Guys, just across the board, the challenge is that every state law is different. We know that already as loan signing agents, but it adds an extra layer to with the remote online notarization. And then the emergency orders. But then on top of knowing our stuff to do the job, we have to learn the individual platforms. So on top of learning your state laws, then you have to learn the individual platforms, and they all work differently. Some of them play nicely, some of them don't. Some of them have great customer support, most of them don't. And that's what we're running into. Plus there's the system overwhelm. So we are working on it. We'll get some information out to you. I think the best thing for us to do is to share information as much as possible with each other. So in the chat windows, in the forums, so we can figure this out. To share with you guys what I'll be doing, because in Arizona, they're trying to rush this thing through too, and it is a complete cluster, of course. But what I did is I asked my biggest client, what's their plan, what are they going to do? And they told me who they're partnering with. And they're choosing Notary Cam. So guess who I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with Notary Cam first. I was originally going to go with Signix because I've heard great things about some of the other notaries using it. But I want to be smooth and seamless with my primary income earner. So whatever they're going to go with, I'm going to try. That's what I'm going to sharpen my teeth on. And I encourage you to do the same too. If you have a regular client, a lot of these signing companies are now, they're being pressured. Like I'm getting pressure from my clients like, oh my gosh, can we figure this out? You know, I've been trying to talk to them for 2 years about this. Now all the pressure is on to get it done. So we're going to try to get you as much information as possible. Carol, do you have anything on Ron that you'd like to share on Carrie's question?
I'm doing a lot of really heavy research right now. I'm trying to put some stuff together. I agree with you. Signex seems to be the front leader right now as far as costs. I'm disgusted about what a lot of these companies are, especially about Notarize, because of what happened several years ago. And I've said this before, when they came to my home to get my blessing on it, showed me the software, and then hired all of our graduates that were in Virginia to launch this thing. This is one of the worst days of my life now that I look back on it, because I've been against it for so long. But they're just, why would we work? Why would we do this when it's going to cost us more money than what we're making? And that's the case. This is what I'm finding from my students, that they're actually coming up short.
Right.
Yeah, big time. And on top of it, you know, these states are rushing it through, but the platforms, Carrie, I think you've run into this. I know Ruth, I see your hand up. Great, you can probably speak to this, but you know, Montana has been approved for a couple of years now. They just changed their laws in September, and then they can't find a platform to work on, right, Ruth?
Oh, it's getting worse, because Lori and I had a lovely conversation yesterday, you know, after my chaos over the past month that, Bill, you are very well aware of. And I received an email from, I just had it up, it was Simply Secure Sign, who is not approved in the state of Montana. So that's something else you guys need to check on too, is when you're looking for your state, check your state's specifications, because like Montana has very specific companies they will only work with. Lori is working with Simply Secure Sign, a worldwide notary, but we are still running into those problems too. I mean, we have a very basic certification exam right now. That's it. And it really is a lot of this push, shove, shove. Oh, wait, there's a rock in the way. And that's just something we have to work on getting taken care of. And between trying to develop the classes and getting the certifications out and everything else, I mean, Lori, myself, Bill, you two, we've all just been kind of banging our heads against a blank wall, because that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it is right now. Yep. Ellen, hi.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, to answer her question, for the state of Pennsylvania, they hadn't had Ron before the emergency order, and before they had e-notarization up until, you know, a couple of weeks ago. And my suggestion, if your state already has e-notarization, you're already like an e-notary, it would make sense to just kind of morph into Ron, because you already are on the platforms. But if you're not, yeah, for me personally, I'm not an e-notary, and I don't think it's worth it, because I don't think it's going to last after the emergency order. Because that's what you got to think. If all these orders expire in another 30 days, 60 days, and they don't, you know, carry it forward, you're kind of stuck, you know?
And I do know, I'm sorry, Bill. I do know for Illinois, the previous administration, previous governor, there was a 2-year pilot program. And the deadline to submit all of this information, I have all that information I've read, was to see whether it was viable here in Illinois. They are going to probably keep the Ron here in Illinois. They're at this moment though, and so they have all of this information, and they even have guidelines up on the Illinois State, you know, Secretary of State's website for that. But as far as like platforms, there's nothing that says, you know, we have to use this company or that company. I mean, right now it's just kind of up in the air. And I'm part of the Illinois NSA group on Facebook too. And it's kind of like, you know, what do we do? So I'm opting just to, you know, have the borrowers, the signers show me their documents. They can email them to me or show me, you know, the document that they're going to sign, just witness them sign it. And in our emergency Ron order, we have to, they have to send us the documents, and then I have to like send them back, you know, within like 24 hours, or send them where they need to go. it's crazy. It really is. There is some structure, but as far as like, you know, which company, which platforms to use, you know, about Sinex, they were like the cheapest company. They were $250. I spoke with a representative, $250, and then there was some other fee, and then they charge you $10 per transaction, and but they cap it at $60. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. So yeah, Carol, I'll be looking forward to that information as well, because it's just whatever I find, I'll share with everyone too. It's just nuts right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. And we'll get that info out as soon as possible. And Ellen, I love your point though. Guys, if there's temporary orders and you don't plan or enjoy doing RON transactions, it may not be worth it to you. It's 45 to 60 days processing time right now. And some of these emergency orders will be expired by the time you get approved. So keep a real good bird's eye view of this and see if it fits in. Try to not get too caught up in just hysteria. You know, there is a need. Ron fills a particular need, but there's plenty. If it doesn't fit into your work model, then don't put yourself through this.
I know we're getting to the close. Do we have more questions here?
We do. Sorry, guys. I promised anybody who raised their hand would get a chance, so we're going to do it here. I got 3 more. We got Bolanley. Bolanley. We'll come back to you. Ava Marie, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Hello, everybody. Hello, Carol. Hello, Bill. I'm glad to see you guys. This is the very first time that I've jumped on TNT in a very long time. It has been very busy here in Illinois, and it is crazy.
Awesome. Great to hear it.
I got certified for the electronic stuff last year through one company, and you don't get a lot because in Illinois there was no precedence for it. So I agree with Carrie that it's up in the air. What do you do? That's why I said let me get on to find out, because everybody is calling. I got another company that I have to take a training with. However, I'm listening to you guys say you've paid this fee, that fee, and all of these costs. I have not paid a dime for any of the companies that I've worked with to get the class training, to get the certifications or anything like that. So I'm a little confused. So I just wanted to hear more about, where is this other information coming from? Yikes.
Yeah, well, Ava Marie, sometimes the platforms have a processing or an application fee to even sign up for them. Then they might have a monthly subscription fee on top of a per transaction fee, or sometimes they just have a per transaction fee. It just depends on the model. Now, there might be some exceptions, right? You might have connected with a signing company who says, we want you, we'll just put you on our platform and you're on. And they're not charging you fees, and they're just maybe giving discounted fee or whatever it is. So that's just part of the mush that is this. There's different ways that it might work for different people.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad it's working out for you, though. That's really great.
Good.
Post that in the chat window.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Hello, Carol. I love you.
That's Ava. Awesome. We got time for one more question, guys, and then we're going to do the giveaway too. So anybody who's hanging out, we're going to do the giveaway. Carol's got a walk away message for us, but let's get to iPhone or iPhone. You are up next.
Hi, this is Sharon. Can you hear me okay?
Sure can, Sharon. Welcome.
Good, thank you. My question is this: given the Rona situation, I'm just curious to know how it has impacted notaries, overall, from what you've seen, who you're working with. I'm new as a notary. I finally got my commission and all of that finally. And I haven't done anything with it yet because I'm waiting to see, when these stay-at-home orders are going to be lifted, or, how we're going to navigate going forward, and that's not clear to me yet. So I haven't done anything with my notary as of yet. So I just want to know from your perspective, in terms of what you've seen, how things are going. Are you losing money? Are you making money? I'm a little perplexed about that.
No problem. Yeah. And I think anybody who's having an experience, please put it in the chat window too, so Sharon can see it in there and share that with all of us. But what I can share from my coaching calls is the volume is extremely high across the board. There's little pockets that are not, maybe, but the challenge that we've been having is that we're probably at a 50% workforce. There are about 50% of notaries that have opted to self-isolate or not continue working right now. So that has created a demand for good notaries. So in major pockets, like for an example, my signing company is probably the busiest it's ever been, and it's harder. It takes me 30 calls to find a notary to fill that order when it used to take 3. So that kind of just demonstrates how it looks. Now, as far as how people are handling it, I think this is across the board too. Number one, what I love about this community is that they've shown that they're really taking this seriously. So the ones who are working are geared up. They've got their personal protection equipment. They've got their Lysol, their rubber gloves, their mask, their plastic mask, their folding table, their own chairs, their own pens, Lysol, white Clorox wipes. I mean, they've got it covered. So if you are going to work, you still want to do it safe. Yeah, Carrie's got all of her supplies there. Carol, any other feedback or suggestions that you're hearing right now?
Well, I'm finding only about 25% of my students are out there working.
Wow.
Most of them are taking a lot of precautions and not working. And the ones that are working are, like you said, they're preparing themselves for the worst of things. But they're working hard and they're making really good money, but they're being careful about what they take. And this is a good time for those who feel comfortable getting out there to really bring the money home.
It's pretty amazing right now. And the other side of this too, guys, is there's plenty of people who are just putting paperwork aside on their desk, like, oh, the notary's not that important. I'll do it when I get done, when this clears up. So I anticipate that there's going to be a pretty spectacular spike in notarization needs after this.
Well, I want to be ready for it when it happens.
Yeah, definitely. Hit the ground running.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here, Sharon. All right, guys, it looks like that was the last question. So, and I know there's a bunch in the chat window, so sorry. Hopefully we'll get to it next week as well. Carol, would you like to, you had some closing statements for us before we
I do have a couple of things. First of all, hire notary. Don't do that. Don't go to them. The most you can lose is $48, but you're going to lose your $48. That's the feedback I'm getting from people who are signing up with them. They pay the $48, they never hear from them. Interesting thing, one of my students had signs on her car, her notary signs. You want to think about this. Somebody broke into her car for one thing, and that was her notary stuff. Got her stamp, got her journal. She was here in California where you'd think that they would do something. She called the SOS and they said, well, just wait a while and then go get another stamp. And yeah, that was it. You can report it to the police department. That was all they told her.
Wow.
Okay, that's another thing. I wanted to bring these things up because they're important. Also, I had, I mentioned something before about during this virus thing, how a lot of my students have gone and gotten their mortgage payments, their car payments delayed. I had a student who just got out of the hospital, not making any money, really struggling. And because of that, he went to his car company. He and his wife both had loans on their cars, and they let them extend for 3 months. He said it amounted to about $1,700 in debt relief, which really helped him. So if you're going through a struggle, do think about that. One other thing, and I think I talked about it before, but I'm not sure. I couldn't believe this. Citibank employee was working with, he was an advisor, a loan advisor, and he was working with someone who had the virus. He knew that she had the virus. He didn't tell anybody. My notary went out there and found out from her that she was even sleeping in separate beds from her husband, trying to keep from spreading it. And because of this employee, she ended up going into the home, not even knowing, given a chance to find out that she was going into a hotbed. there, which I thought was terrible. So I'm telling her to sue him. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I just wanted to get that information out.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that you did. Thank you for sharing that story too about the Citibank. That was definitely wrong. And I know that there's already attorneys looking into that. So that's a big deal, guys. Also though, too, no matter what happens, we have to take personal responsibility for ourselves and our business. So if you want to add an extra layer of protection to that and ask the borrower if they have symptoms, if they have been diagnosed, you can still absolutely do that. And the NNA created that questionnaire form, so you can have that conversation. So you, for yourself, for your own health and well-being, you can ask them those questions and maybe avoid something like this, especially if there's people trying to conceal information. Okay, let's give away some stuff, guys. We've gone 10 minutes past, and I apologize. I don't want to take away from the questions, but let's do the giveaways. What we're going to do, guys, the first 2 prizes, we're going to give away a signed and inscribed copy. So I'll sign this, I'll inscribe it to you, of Sign and Thrive, How to Make 6 Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. How we're going to do this is random. Oh, what was that? Somebody's excited. Let's do the random number 1 through 60. The first one to put it into the chat window will win the first book. So I'm just looking for the first number. Just did a random 1 through 60. 1 through 60. Oh, there it is. Oh. Hold on. Jeez. I'll come up with a better system for this here in a second. Okay. Samantha Bentanzos. Samantha Bentanzos. If you will email orders@notarycoach.com, I will be glad to send you the autographed book. Let's do another one here, guys. 1 through, hold on, let me type something in here really quick so I can see the deadline here. Break. Okay, so 1 through 60 numbers. Another book. All right, all right. Keep them coming, keep them coming. Still not here yet.
It looks like a slot machine.
I know, right? Oh boy. Keep trying, guys. I think I'm gonna have to lower the numbers down. Still going, still going.
I'm trying to figure out why are you choosing?
I have a random number generator off of Google, so it just picks a random number.
Oh, so you're trying to match that number with what's one
The
they're
first one, and we still don't have one.
Whisper it to me.
Yeah, right. You know what? We're going to give it to Candace. Candace, you were so close at 52. The number was 53. Let's see that. So Candace, if you want to send me an email to orders@notarycoach.com with your address and then your name and how you'd like it to inscribed, I'm happy to do that. Okay, guys, let's do one more prize giveaway. And last night, we really officially kicked off our reverse mortgage training, the Certified Reverse Mortgage Signing Professional Training. It's over 100 modules with a super intense test that you have to get a 90% on, and it is probably the most comprehensive reverse mortgage training in the market today, and it retails for $97. I'm going to give away one of those today. So no more numbers yet, guys. Hold off on the numbers. I got to give a break and do a fresh start here. I also realized I don't want 60 numbers on this, so we're going to take this down. We're going to say 30 numbers, 1 through 30 now.
Poor Bill.
I know, and I'm getting a slow internet on top of it. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Ann Powers. Ann Powers, lucky number 18. You are the winner, Ann Powers. If you will email me at orders@notarycoach.com, I will grant you access to the Certified Reverse Mortgage Signing Professional Training. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you, everybody, for letting me have some fun and give some stuff away. Carol, thank you so much.
You don't want me to give a course away?
Oh, we're going to be doing this every Tuesday, so let's not give it all away now.
That's okay.
You want to do it?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. All right, so hold on. No more numbers in the chat window. Nothing yet. Oh, gosh. All right, no more numbers, guys. No more numbers. Got to stop writing. Okay, this is for Carol. What are we giving away?
By course, everything.
All right. Okay. This is for
$225.
Notary 2 Pro course. All right, here we go. Hold on, guys. No numbers yet. 1 through 30. Hold on, guys. I got to put the break in here.
It shouldn't be as fast either. They don't like the course, so they're already a student.
Okay. Guys, don't type any numbers in. We're gonna now we have to play follow directions first. No more numbers.
We're gonna have to use flashcard.
So Samantha, she's got hers. She says, stop.
Okay, 1 through 30. Go now. First person to win the lucky number wins. Okay, this is for a Notary to Pro course. 1 through 30. First number that I see that hits it, you win. 1 through 30. All right, now you guys can type numbers in. 1 through 30. Okay. Almost. Wake me up.
Funny.
This is hilarious, Bill.
It's good times. There we go. Vicky Mott, congratulations.
Vicky,
you are the winner of Notary 2 Pro full on course. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Carol, thanks for jumping on that too. Awesome. Very generous of you. Thank you guys for growing yourself and your business on the Tuesday. We will see you at the same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.
Woohoo!